Hello, everyone. Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. Today, we're going to be talking about strategies for buying in uncertain times. This is Tiffany Young, and my name is Dan Mihara. And Tiffany, why don't you talk to us about what we're going to do today?
Okay, so today, we're going through different times right now, right? Not only have we kind of come to a different part in the real estate cycle, but we have COVID and the pandemic impacting a lot of our big decisions in life, whether you're buying and selling. And so today we want to, have a moment to share with you and maybe talk about some strategies of how to navigate this type of market when you're looking to buy, whether you are a first-time buyer or you're an investor. You could always use a little bit of information, right? And education.
Thanks, Tiff. So Tiffany is one of our lead buyers agents here on the team. She also does listings as well, and also does staging and does all kinds of other things here at the team. My name is Dan Mihara. I've been doing this for about 15 years. Have a few closed transactions under our belt, and we're here to kind of share what we're learning about the market today and how we're able to help our clients buy homes in a very competitive market.
Yes. So I guess the biggest question for people who are watching is, do you own real estate, or have you ever owned real estate? Does anyone have a response for that?
Yeah, I think, I guess you come through a different lens if you've bought and sold real estate before, or you really haven't done that for yourself, right? Experience matters, right? It kind of teaches you things along the way.
I mean, yeah, it certainly does. But at the same time, even in our career, and we're always learning every day as things change, right? So like I mentioned earlier, you can always learn something new. So that brings me to the next question is, what do you want to learn today from being here with us?
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat box. Let us know. Post it there on social media as well. And let us know. We want to make sure that we bring enough value to you for today to worthwhile. So feel free to leave in your comments in there in your chat. And towards the end, Carrie, there's Carrie. Carrie's here. Carrie Scoville here, our client care manager, will help us consolidate all those questions at the end, and we'll make sure we knock them out at the end.
Absolutely. You and me, Facebook, we're here and we'll get your questions answered live. So chat away with us on Facebook.
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Carrie. So really, what we want to discuss is the strategies for buying in these uncertain times. So Dan, can you kind of share with us what that could look like?
Yeah, I think that the first step is really making sure you have a good team, a team of people that are going to help you go through this pandemic, these uncertain times. There's a lot of things that we don't know, and we want to know. We want to learn this, because this is, you think about it, buying real estate is probably going to be one of your biggest decisions of your life. Outside of getting married and having kids, it's probably going to be buying real estate, right? And so who's going to help you with that? Well, you're going to need a team of people. You're going to need a good lender if you're going to get a loan, which most people do. You're going to need a good realtor, and you need a good insurance guy. Now, the easiest thing is if you can find a good realtor, they'll help you with a good lender and a good insurance agent. Okay, so you really only need one real point of contact, if that's your realtor, because then they can, with enough experience, can help you navigate through all the other team members. Now, you want a realtor that has good market knowledge. I mean, expertise in the market that you're looking to buy, right? Do they understand values? Do they understand where the market's been, where the market's going to go, the types of sellers, the types of buyers, the uniqueness of each market? There are many properties, segments in the market that there may be. Let's take, for example, one area of a valley. It could have 4 or 5 different communities in it, right? So each one's going to have a little difference in perspective on value. Now, you're also going to look for somebody with a lot of experience. I mean, think about it. You want to have somebody, if you had to do a shoulder surgery, would you want somebody who did that shoulder surgery 5 times or 1,000 times? Well, obviously, you're going to want the guy who did it 1,000 times, right? Yeah, so you want to work with folks that have enough experience to understand where failure is going to show up. And that way they can get in front of failure so that you're not one of the statistics on failure. Right? The other is somebody that's got strong technical skills. Somebody that understands the contracts, understands the legal binding agreements that you're going to be signing, because again, this is one of the biggest deals of your life, right? And then somebody who's got really good connections, right? Connections meaning, in the event I need, I go through my due diligence and I need an electrician, or I need a plumber, or I need a roofer, or I need something to somebody to help me validate something or to solve a problem. You want to have somebody that says, yeah, let me call that person for you. Not somebody that says, oh, I don't know, good luck, you know, because that could happen, right? So you want somebody who's got enough experience, that has enough connections, that can really, number one, advocate and have high level of integrity towards you, right? Meaning they're going to look out for your best interests before their own. Right? That's hard to gauge, right? How do you know if somebody's going to perform that way? Usually you can look at their reviews. You can talk to people that have used their services, find out how they, show me where advocacy showed up, right? That's a good question to ask folks that refer you to somebody, because, you know, most people think all realtors are the same, obviously. And you're going to want to find somebody who's going to really look out for your best interests before their own.
Yeah. Absolutely, Dan. And I also just kind of want to dovetail onto that too, you know, talking about technical skills and understanding the contracts and how to navigate them. That really helps to with negotiating, right? Because if you don't understand the technical side of it, you're not going to be able to negotiate and therefore advocate for your clients. So it's all kind of a combination of all of that.
Right. And you really, what you're looking for is somebody who can ask good questions, right?
Absolutely.
Because if you're buying a property and you're buying in a competitive market, and many single-family home markets is very competitive, how do you win when you're competing, right? What are the things you can do to help put you in a better position to win relative to everybody else? And so there are a lot of things that we do during this process to help our clients win. Most of it has to boil around questions, right? What's the most important thing for the seller? Where's the seller going? And when are you going to review the offers? Give you an example. We had one just the other day. Property came on the market. It's in a hot market. Our question to him was, how are you going to present offers? And she says, well, as they arrive. Well, nobody can see the property for 2 days, so we submitted an offer, sight unseen. Why? Because she's going to present it sight unseen, and that's okay. So you could get in line sooner than the next guy, and that's really what you want, right? What we want to do is create opportunities for clients that they would not otherwise have, and then give you a right to withdraw or cancel from the agreement through their due diligence in the process, right? And that's a whole different class that we'll talk about, the buyer contingencies.
Absolutely. Okay. So, you know, as a first-time buyer or just someone on the market, there's a lot of commonly asked questions, Dan. So we're going to cover all of these today. I'll quickly go through them right now. You know, what's going to happen to prices in the next few months? What's happening to the inventory? And I don't qualify for what I want now. Should you wait? Also, how significant are the low interest rates? And should I wait until prices hit the bottom? All great questions. So Dan, take it away.
Well, I guess the first question is what's going on in the market, right? What has the market done? What's interesting about real estate is it typically follows cycles, right? In a lot of businesses and the economy, cycles matter, and understanding what the cycles look like will help you understand what might happen in the future. And what we're finding is that real estate goes into 8 to 10 year cycles, right? And what we know is that after the peak of the market, it typically dips, right? And so these factors will play a part in it. Now, what happened in 1987 to 1991 was fairly extreme, where the market went from 168,000 up to 380,000 in a matter of 4 years. This was a time when we had foreign investors coming in, the Japanese in particular, were buying properties, gobbling up in cash. And then after the peak of the market, what happened? It took a bit of a dip. Interestingly enough is it took 14 years to equate that, right? So if somebody says, well, I'm gonna wait till the market rises, how do you know when the bottom is? The only way to know the bottom is if it passes you, right? Right now, where we are today is we've had this long expansion. And here's a really good point to look about. Imagine buying a home in 1987, what that home would be worth today. Think of what, if you bought a home in 2010, what that property would be done today. That's a 10-year cycle, right? So really, you want to know that real estate will appreciate. It'll appreciate greater than 4.5% a year, typically, especially in here in Hawaii, and that it's a safe investment for somebody who's thinking of holding on to that investment. Now, if you're somebody coming in here saying, well, I want to buy it and sell it in 2 years, yeah, we're right now at the peak of the market, and we're going to expect a change in the market very soon.
Okay, what's going to happen to prices more specifically in the next few months, Dan? That was kind of like a recap of over time, right?
Right, right. So in the next few months, what we're going to see is, well, let me back up by saying that prices are determined by a simple thing called supply and demand, right? The higher the supply and the demand being the same, the lower the prices, right? Right now, we have a very low supply, right? Very low supply of inventory and a demand that's strong. And that's why in a pandemic, we see rising single family home prices, but dipping condo prices. And
why is that, Dan?
Nobody really expected this, right, Tiff? Nobody expected this.
No.
What we're finding is there's a dip in the condo market prices because the typical buyer of a condo in the lower price range market, that's typically your entry level. That's typically somebody in the hospitality industry. And unfortunately, that's where the largest rate of unemployment is. So the typical buyer for that market, there's less of them that can qualify at the moment. In addition to that, the investors who are out there, they would buy a condo, they're getting concerned, right? They're worrying, if I buy this condo, what about the tenants? Are they gonna have a job to pay me, right? So you notice that the condo market's softening. Right now it's softening. And so what we're gonna expect to see is a dipping in the market there. Interestingly enough, on the single family home market though, the market is rising, right? Prices are rising. I mean, right, Tiff? We just had one the other last week in Manoa that, I don't know how many offers we had. How many offers did we have in that?
On Manoa, we had 3 offers.
3 offers, right? And I think we got at our list price or close to it, right?
We got our list price, yes.
We got our list price to it, right? Many areas like in Eva Beach where demand is extremely high right now with extremely low inventory, you know, we had offers, 6, 12 offers on a property and it goes 40, 50, 60,000 over the list price. Pretty crazy times, pretty crazy times. And the reason for that is because of the interest rates. Now, buyers are pretty smart, right? They know that the low cost of the money, which is the interest rate, is their greatest form of leverage. Right? Real estate's one of the very few property or assets you can buy that you don't have to pay 100% of it, right? If you go buy Costco stock or AT&T or Apple and the stock's going to cost you $300,000, well, they're going to expect $300,000, right? Well, if you bought a $300,000 house or condo, you can actually buy it with only 25% down. That's $75,000 versus $300,000, right? And so on an investor side as well as, and here's the other kicker, VA loans, and that's why Eva Beach and Mililani are so high demand, is you can buy as a veteran, you can get a home with no money, basically no money down, you can get the keys without paying any money, and you can get it at 2.65%. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what's driving the market, right? That's what's going to drive demand because of the interest rates are low. Now, what's going to happen when the interest rates rise? Well, demand's going to shrink a bit, right? As the leverage that you have today gets not as attractive, there'll be less people out there that can qualify or interested in buying. The other thing is inventory. Now, inventory is an interesting thing, right? We have never gone through a pandemic. We didn't know what was going to happen. Everybody's really concerned about the economy, rightfully so. We went through 2 whole months of shutdown. I mean, basically, all of the economy shut down, including real estate, because we couldn't even do open houses, right? We couldn't show properties as well. And people were concerned about going into other people's homes and letting other people in their homes. So there was 2 months of pent-up demand, February and March, right, in that time period. Well, that 2 months of pent-up demand or lack of buyers and sellers, that takes about 4 months to equate to expiring all of that demand, right? Mm-hmm. So we've gone through that now, right? We've gone through that. We think that demand will stay stable. It might dip a little as we get towards the end of the year, right? But inventory is likely going to change. Yeah. You see, the reason for that is because the government stepped in and said, you know what, because of the pandemic, they got the lenders to give a forbearance program. And a forbearance program says to the lender or the owner of the property that you don't have to pay me because I know you don't have a job. Right? That's a really good thing, right? You don't have a job, you don't pay me mortgage, your monthly mortgage payment for 6 months, right? And then what happens is that 6 months is going to end towards the end of this year, right? End of this year, early of next, these forbearance programs are going to expire. What happens when they expire? Well, the bank's going to go back to the homeowner and they're going to say, well, you owe me all this money, which you couldn't pay me before, and how are you going to pay me now? Right? So that's not a real good option. Number 2 is they're going to take all of the money that you owe, that you didn't pay, and spread it out in 24 months. Well, what's the likelihood of that happening? Especially if you still are not employed, right? Or lastly, we're going to just rerun your entire mortgage for 30 years. Well, that may be the best option for them, it may not be. The worst is actually they're saying to the buyers, you know, we'll give you more time to not pay us. That's basically saying to the buyer, I'm going to give you a bigger shovel because you're going to go in deeper debt. Unfortunately, that's what they're saying. It sounds great at the surface, but when you look at the long-term impact of it, that's not a really good solution to the homeowner. The people that win are the banks, right? They're gonna get their money either way, right? So then the real Akamai people are gonna say, you know what? I think I better get out. I think I better sell before I go into a short sale or the bank takes it and I go into foreclosure. Right? So we're gonna see a lot of these things happen: short sales, foreclosures, and people just getting out of the market. Right? They said, I want to preserve. I need to downsize anyway, so I want to preserve my credit. I want to be able to buy something in the future, so I'm going to sell and I'm going to rent something until I get a job again, and then I'm going to go buy something. Right? That's what we think is going to happen. Now, when that happens, inventory is going to rise, and what's going to happen is prices might decrease a bit, right, at that point. Right? Mm-hmm. We don't know how long this is going to take. They've told us expect 12 to 24 months. Around that range for all of this to pass through till the vaccine comes out, and they said it'll take 18 to 24 months for the vaccine to really be accepted and everybody to use it so that we can get back to some kind of normalcy from prior to COVID. Right? Even that in Hawaii, though, the statistics say that more than 25% of the people just aren't going to travel. I mean, look at this. We're doing a seminar. Nobody has to come to person, right? You don't have to have contact with anybody. You don't have to worry about germs. We can do this stuff from our house. Mm-hmm. The world has already changed, right? And what that does is there's going to be a lot less business travel, right? And that's going to impact our island. And that's we're going to start to see the impact of this over time. And unfortunately, yeah, we're going to see some dipping of values in many markets. It's going to happen. Eventually, it's going to happen. Some markets are going to stay the same because supply is still low and demand is high. And in those markets, that even could rise. It even could get higher. So it just depends. As we go through the seasons over the next few months, we're going to start noticing changes in the inventory. We're going to see changes in prices. And that's where you want somebody that can really give you good information such that you can make a good decision.
Absolutely.
That's a short-term perspective tip.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so we kind of talked about what's going to happen to the inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of went right through all of this already.
Yeah, actually we did, right? You know, forbearance programs are going to end.
Yeah.
We're going to see short sales and foreclosures. And we think as long as the interest rates stay low, demand will stay steady. Now,
keep it balanced out. Yeah.
right. How long will it last? They say probably through the end of the year at least. You know, beyond that, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who our next president's going to be. How about that? Right? That could play a big part in what happens to the economy, right? And what happens to real estate values.
Okay. So, you know, low interest rates right now, because we know they're low, I guess kind of talk to us about what the significance is of that for a buyer looking who needs to buy now.
Yeah, you know, if you look at the math, the low interest rates allows you to buy much more of a property, because what we do as humans and as buyers is we look at how much I can afford every month, right? What's my monthly expense? And that's where, you know, that's where we look at what's really most important. Everything relates to that, right? And so if I can afford $2,000 a month, then that's $2,000 a month. Now, if the rates go up, then the price that I can buy is probably going to come down, right? The good news is right now is you get to lock in that low interest rate for 30 years.
Yes.
30 years. It's outrageous. You know, Jeff, you're too young. When I was in high school, when I graduated high school in 1981, the interest rate was 18.5%. 18.5%, that's crazy. Who buys a house? Guess what? People still traded real estate. People still bought them.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It's all relative to the time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's under 3%. You know, if you look historically, it didn't get under 6% for many, many decades, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when it went under 6%, everyone said this is the best thing next to slice bread.
Right.
Now it's under 3%. That's absolutely crazy. Absolutely. What will happen is over time, as the economy improves, that interest rate's going to go up. And then you're going to lock in for 30 years. Right? So do you want to lock in 30 years at 3% or 6%? Right?
Yeah.
And that's going to be your leverage. So let's talk about really what that looks like in math. Okay. What's the impact of a rising interest rate, assuming that the interest rate rises only 1%? 1%. Right? What happens? Well, let's just say that rate's 2.85 today. And let's say it goes up to 3.85, 1% more. You want to keep the payments the same, right? Because based on my job, I can afford this, and that's all I can afford, right? And I'm buying a $500,000 property, I'm putting 20% down. If the rate goes up 1%, we now lose 11% of buying power, 11.8% of buying power. The property we thought we could buy for $500,000, we no longer can buy. We have to downsize our search down to 441.
And that's a big difference, Dan, right? Just being on the market and knowing this $59,000 could mean the difference between, you know, if you have to have a washer dryer in your unit or a second stall, another bed. I mean, it is a big difference. And so just kind of hearing everything you've said right now, me, if I were on the market as a buyer, this would be the biggest reason why I would want to look now, because the interest rates, like you said, leveraging the low cost of money. This is very useful to see it in this chart.
Yeah, you know, you think about it, how long would it take you to save $59,000?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? It takes people a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It could take decades just to save that. And that's what's going to happen. It could happen within a month. Who knows, right? Who knows how quickly the rate's going to rise. What we do know for a fact is it's extremely low, in fact, historically low today. And that's why a lot of buyers, we're getting pre-approved every day to find out what they can qualify to, what they top out at in their price. And we're aggressively searching for them because they want to lock in an extremely low rate for 30 years. For 30 years. That's incredible.
Okay,
So,
so what do they need to do, Dan, to do that, get started?
yeah, well, number one is you got to get pre-qualified or pre-approved. And our lenders, along with home loans, many of our clients use all kinds of lenders. You want to use a local lender that understands local real estate, right? And they have programs for you that create some flexibility and also great pricing, right? So there's a number of things that they're going to ask you to do to provide. And these are good checklists for you as you're thinking of buying. You want to start gathering your data, your information that the lender's going to need in order to determine how much you can buy up to. And that'd be 2 years of tax returns, 2 years of W-2s, 2 months of bank statements, right? 2 months of retirement account statements if you have them, and then the last 3 pay stubs. Right? If they get that, or when they get that, then they can run some numbers for you to pre-qualify you or pre-approve you for a property. And that's really what you want to do, because you want to know what you can buy up to, and you also want to know, what does that mean to me every month?
Right.
What can I do this? Am I comfortable with this? Like, you know, how many peanut butter and jelly sandwiches do I have to? A couple of noodles, you know, just depends. Hey,
No, it's so true, because not only will it tell you, you know, what you're currently at, but it can, if you're not ready, it can also give you a game plan, right? Like what you need to do to be where you want to be. So
yeah.
it's very important to talk to a lender. They're part of your team, helping you strategize for this goal of yours.
Yeah, and they also can give you tips on helping maybe improve your credit, right?
Yeah.
If you have credit challenges. So a good lender can walk you through positioning yourself for when you are ready. Because let's just say you're not quite ready today, but you know, maybe 3 months from now you would be. You'd have enough money saved or what have you. Yeah, great opportunity. As long as you have a good lender, experienced and skilled, that can help you navigate through this process.
Okay. Dan, a lot of people are asking, you know, like we kind of talked about, should they wait until prices hit the bottom?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
My first question to them when people say, I'm just going to wait till it hits the bottom, and say, how do you know when that is? Right? You only know the bottom is after it passes you. After the bottom passes you and goes up, then you realize looking back that you passed the bottom. There's no other way to know where the bottom is, right, Tiff?
Yes, absolutely.
There's no way to know. There's no way to know. So what we do know, though, is the sooner you lock in a low interest rate, the sooner you start building equity in your own asset, you're going to start knocking down those 30 years and you're going to have greater equity. That's really the best thing to do, right?
And then you're not paying someone else's mortgage.
Right.
You're not doing that for them. You're actually doing it for yourself.
Right. Many of our clients, we asked them, right, Tiff, you know, where do you live? I live here. Oh, are you renting? Yeah, I rent. How much you pay in rent? Oh, I pay $3,800 a month or whatever. So what if you could take that $3,800 and put it into your pocket versus your landlord's pocket?
Mm-hmm.
What if you could just do that and build equity over time and get a tax deduction?
Yep.
Is that something you'd be interested in? Absolutely. And that's why we're seeing tons and tons of buyers calling us to say, yeah, I need some help, because this is a great time to buy.
Okay. Let's see. I guess, how are today's lows? Okay, we've already discussed this. How are the low interest rates beneficial? And are you aware of the lending guidelines? I guess that's really important as well, right?
Yeah. So lending guidelines have changed since COVID, in particular for those investors, right? In the past, if you were an investor, you'd have to put 25% down, and they would look at the assets that you're buying to rent, and they're going to calculate your income based off of rental data that they have for the property you're going to buy. And they would use that as added to your income. Today, they won't consider that. Today, the underwriting guidelines, they're going to assume that your tenant is not paying. Because guess what? Up until the end of this year, your tenant actually doesn't have to pay, and it's okay. You cannot kick them out. So the lender knows this, and they're saying, well, it's a risk for them, so that's why they're going to remove that risk. They're going to say, you need to qualify for this property on your own, not including the rental income, not including. In regard to homeowners, primary residents, their guidelines have changed there as well. They got a lot tighter, right? The requirements got tighter. They're going to look at income and debt closer.
Yep.
They're going to look at the type of jobs you have, believe it or not. They're going to hedge their odds on failure because failure becomes their problem, the bank's problem. And they're changing the guidelines to their benefit, which makes it more challenging for us. Yet at the same time, if you have a lender that you're working with that understands these guidelines, can kind of coach you through them to possibly get through to make that purchase possible.
Yeah. And you know, another question to ask yourself too, if you're debating if you should wait for prices to hit the bottom, you know, what is your current living arrangement? You know, does it require change? Are you needing to downsize, upsize, or even consolidate? So these are the types of questions you need to ask yourself when kind of, you know, weighing out should you wait?
Right. I mean, we have all that, Tiff, right? We've got clients who are downsizing because their house is too big. They're doing this because of a lifestyle change, right? The kids are gone, you know, their house is too big, and they're going to move into something smaller, something more manageable. Then we have a lot of upsizers, people that says, you know what, with COVID, I got to stay home. I don't like the home that I'm staying in now. You know, that work at home, stay at home. Well, that home better be nicer, right? So we're seeing a lot of people upsizing to better environments. And we see them consolidating. We see families coming together now because oftentimes either one doesn't have employment, so they need to have some places, so they have to leave where they were, consolidate, or they're taking care of their family member, right? So there's a lot of consolidation, a lot of multi-family interest now, and hence the demand for single family has risen dramatically during this time because of COVID. Again, the upsizing and consolidation is driving people to the single family market more than ever before.
Yeah. And I really like this quote here, you know, and you think about it visually, when is the best time to plant a tree? Well, that's going to be 20 years ago, right? So I love that because it just kind of puts things into perspective of how real estate is beneficial.
And the next best time is now.
Yeah, and exactly.
Right?
But before you know it, 20 years will be gone. You're like, darn it, I should have planted that tree 20 years ago.
Right? It's funny because you drive around the community and say, that's a beautiful mango tree. You say, I'm going to plant a mango tree. Well, it's going to take a while to mature, right? It's not going to give you fruit next year.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So planning ahead matters. Planning for the future matters, right? Building wealth is something that happens over time. It doesn't happen overnight. And so if your goal is to build wealth, to create a legacy, to create generational wealth for your kids or future kids, then it's going to start in real estate because that asset will grow over time. And the other big item is if you don't have a mortgage today, you don't have an interest expense deduction, right? So you're going to talk to your accountant or CPA and ask them that question. Based on my income and my tax bracket, how much net savings will I have at the end of the day given the tax deductions on my interest expense on my mortgage? And you're going to find that it's a pretty big number. It's a pretty significant number that at the end of the day, you're actually benefiting on the tax deduction as well.
Absolutely. Okay.
And some are building their portfolio. Some are saying, you know what, I've got equity in my house. I'm taking equity out of my house because it's not doing me any good there. And I'm going to put it into other investment properties. Right? We see a lot of that. We have a client now that has taken equity out of their home in Manol and is buying an $800,000 lot. Right? Why? Because they know that lots are rare. It's hard to find. Number two, they're planning for their kids. And the kids are young yet. I mean, they're in college, but at some point they're going to have kids and they're going to need land. Well, the land's already going to be there. Now think of what it's going to be worth 10, 20 years from today. Right? 4% a year over 10 or 20 years, it's significant. In particular, as the number grows, right, $1 million 10 years from now, what's that going to be worth? Significantly more.
Okay, and you know, I'm sure a lot of people out there, Dan, have some hesitation you know, and there's a lot of things preventing them from buying. So I have a couple of good ones that when I talk to buyers and kind of talk them through and consult with them, some common, I guess, objections or hesitations, like for example, you know, they realize that down payment is very important. And so they're thinking, oh, the more down payment I can save up for, the better off I will be. So what would you say to that for someone who's thinking, I want to save more down payment before I do this?
So I think the first question is, if you could, based on what you have today, if you could buy, would you?
Mm-hmm.
So the first question is, can you? So whatever amount of down payment you have, let's see if we can get pre-approved based on that, right? Based on that. Because again, 20 years is a long time, right? Plant that tree.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take you to save what you really think you need? How long will that take? Well, you know, your neighbor is going to have a full-blown tree, and you're not going to even have seeds, right? So you want to plant that sooner. Also know that there's programs out there for low down payments, right? 5, 10%. You can do this thing called PMI, property mortgage insurance, right? Mm-hmm. For if you have less than 20% down. So there's a lot of ways to skin that cat. My first question is, if you could, would you? Second question is, what would you qualify for? And then we'd help you with that process of finding out, right? There's no cost in finding out what you can afford.
Exactly.
There's no harm without, right?
You don't know what you don't know, right? So you might as well discover anything you can to help yourself. Okay, great. Another one is I hear a lot of people saying, well, I'm looking, but I'm going to wait for the right property to come up.
Mm-hmm. And what's the likelihood of that showing up? Right, and here's why. The home that you like, there's a very good chance you're not alone, right? There's a very good chance everybody else wants the same thing.
Exactly. Right? You run into that problem. Like that's why you have to be ready, right? I mean, because as soon as you see that property, like you said, everyone else sees it too, and you're going to be already 2 steps behind, right? Yeah. Okay.
My suggestion for a person like that would be location, right? You can't change the location, but you certainly can change the house. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for a specific location, know that that may be rare to find, but you can change other things. You can put sweat equity into a property, right? You can get a lot that meets all your criteria, and if your bedroom's not big enough, is there a way to expand your bedroom? If you don't have enough bathrooms, is there a way to add that at some point? But at least you're locking in at a low rate. You've got majority of what you want. And the other thing is most buyers, they say, well, I got a whole list, laundry list of 30 things I want. And really the question is that a want or a need? Right? Do you need these things or do they just want them? Now, what are the need items? We want to talk about, I need 3 bedroom, 2 bath because I got 2 kids. That makes sense. So those are the needs, right? I want an upgraded kitchen. Well, can you upgrade a kitchen later? Absolutely, right? I want whatever, more parking space. Do you have ability to do that? Right? And so we want to look at what can be done on the property in the future to make it what you want, right? And really, that's the best way to start building wealth. Right? Yeah. Locking in, so-called getting a piece of the rock, right, Tiff? Going a piece of the rock. There was a commercial about that. You're too young. I don't know what that was.
I just think, no matter what, whether you're purchasing for your own residence or your real estate is always an investment. So I think if you can get in where you can get in, realize that you're going to hang on to this and it's going to help you grow. So you just have to think of real estate as an investment. Know that, yes, you can add equity into it. And as a first-time home buyer, you may not have all 10 of your top list, your top wish for the property, but know that that will help you to get there in the future.
Yes. 100%.
Okay. Let's see what else. And I think some people are just they're scared. They're scared to make that financial leap. It is a big decision. So how do you help coach someone through that, Dan?
Yeah. Well, I guess the first question is, what are we scared of, right? Mm-hmm. And let's flush that out to the surface. So what could they be scared of? They could be scared of the amount of money that they're going to have to pay. Well, what if we brought clarity to that? What if we brought clarity to, here's what your expense would look like? Now, what's your history show about making those kind of payments, and if they're equal to that, or, you know, honestly, all the properties that we bought at the highest end of our ability to buy, because we knew that over time, as we were younger, our income should rise over time, right? And so we kind of stretched ourselves. In fact, honestly, thank goodness to our parents, almost every home we bought, maybe it is every home that we bought, we borrowed money for the down payment because we didn't have enough. And what we did is my parents took equity on their property, very low interest rate, right? And they said, I'm going to make you whole. They used their house to help me buy my homes, right? So I borrowed them money for them because I didn't have enough down payment, and I paid them back on a program. And I made them whole. So I paid all their expenses. There was no cost to them to lend me that money. What it did, though, is allowed me to get something that I couldn't have got on my own, right? So if you have somebody in your life that has a lot of equity, that could be an opportunity to get what you really, you know, get your foot in the door in buying real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. And even, you know, if you're just scared because you don't even know the process, this is where strategy and, like we said in the beginning, you know, finding your team and finding the right strategy that works for your short-term goals and your long-term goals, right, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, strategy matters, your situation matters, what your goals and desires matter. And so we have a strategy session. So if you want to meet with us, you know, there's no cost, no obligation. We can do it on Zoom. I mean, it's so simple today. You can do it off your couch, okay? What we want to do is, number one, understand your needs and wants and your goals. What do you want to have at the end, right? And what do you need today versus maybe some dream things that would be great if I could get that, right? And we want to bring clarity to a need and a want, right? The next thing is make sure that you understand the buying process. Now, keep in mind that buying process is over 45 days typically, and it's got about 14 pages of legal binding purchase contract with about 6 pages of addendums. There's a lot of legalese information that you're going to want to know, right? You're going to want to know the impact of it. You're going to want to know the best practices in today's market. How do I navigate through these challenges? What should I expect? Right? What's going to happen next? Yeah, you want to have a team that's going to be able to deliver that information to you so that it's a lot less stressful, because most folks don't want to buy because of the unknown. Right? Mm-hmm. So the question is, what if you knew everything you needed to know? What if? Would it be easier? Absolutely. Would you be more confident? Absolutely. Yeah. Right? If you knew that you could put an offer in on a property and cancel for any reason up to 10 to 15 days later, does that make you feel better? Absolutely. We had a client yesterday, 2 days ago, they wanted to buy about a $1.4 million property, and they were concerned. I said, so, well, keep in mind that when we write this offer, number one, we can rescind it before they even accept it. Number two, if they accept it, you have 15 days to cancel. So you don't have any obligations at that point. You get your deposits back, so there's really no risk. So understanding what those best practices are, understanding the contract really, really matters, because it's going to make your life a lot easier and a lot less stressful. Then we're going to look at the different options, right, Jeff? We're going to look at, you know, is it a single family home? Is it a condo? Is it a townhouse? What areas, which markets? We'll look at traffic patterns, we'll look at schools. There's a lot of things we can analyze to help people understand where should I go? Where should I live? What price point should I be at? Those are the options. And once we narrow those things down, then we create a customized plan. Based on your goals, your needs and wants, here's a search parameter. We're gonna look at this every single day, likely twice a day. And we're also gonna send that to our team, and our team has tons of upcoming inventory, right? That's the benefit our clients have. They have access to inventory that before it hits the MLS, because, you know, we hold a lot of listings, right? We do several a week. And so we know what's going to happen 2 to 3 months down the road, and what's going to be available 2 to 3 months down the road before the market does. So it's really 3 easy steps. If you think about it, one, all you have to do is reserve a strategy session, right? You can reach the number at the end, give us a call, we can book a calendar. Again, there's no cost, there's no obligation. It's really about seeking to understand what your goals and wants are, getting some options, and getting it going. Second step is getting pre-approved, right? We want to make sure that you're pre-approved. We want to make sure that what you're thinking of wanting to buy, you can actually afford. You're comfortable with it, right? You're not stressed about it, right? Because that's where a lot of people's hesitation is because I don't know, or man, I don't think I'm comfortable with that amount. But we'll get you pre-approved so you are comfortable. And then obviously learning the buying process. Many people don't know that there are many ways you can cancel on a contract to keep you safe, keep you protected. In the event you find something in the property that you're not happy with, there's ways we can get you out of the contract. That's a whole nother class that we'll talk about buyer contingency. So if you're interested in that, please dial into that seminar as well. So it's really 3 simple, easy steps. Reserve a strategy session, get pre-approved, learn the buying process. Then you're on your way. So in closing, we wanted to explain this complete solution. And the complete solution started 15 years ago as we started helping folks buy and sell real estate. My wife and I, Julie, started together. We built a large team, and we have a number of agents and support staff. We have another company called High Property Management for those who want to buy properties or have investment properties that they want managed at a really high level. Our property management firm takes care of those folks. For those who are selling, we have Stage Hawaii, which Tiff helps us run, to make the homes look good, make them look great, right? We have another company called Senior Move Managers in Declutter Hawaii. That was designed 10 years ago. We've helped over 1,000 families move from where they are to where they want to go. Mainly because this is our older demographic that is trying to figure out what their options are. Where do we go? What does life look like? How do we get there? Who can help me? And that's what really tied up the complete solution for our those homeowners in Hawaii. And lastly, Silver Spoons, which is a nonprofit designed to help our kupuna who cannot help themselves. So we have another seminars, right? Webinars, right, Tiff? Let's see, what do we got? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. I got kids I don't see, work from home. I need a bigger house.
You're the magician. I can't believe how you do this.
Okay, so yeah, upcoming webinars we have on October 24th, the top 10 things you need to know before you buy. That's going to be a really good one, you guys. And 10/27, it's building wealth by investing in real estate. So, you know, maybe you already have your foot in the door in real estate and now you're interested in investing and growing your portfolio. And October 29th is going to be how to overcome obstacles when buying a home.
Yeah, so it's really easy, right? RSVP, just register at ihara.eventbrite.com or call the number below. And if you want to set up a strategy session, just call the number below. We'll get you on the calendar and we'll find a time to understand your situation and provide some options for you.
Yeah. In
closing up, we have a simple mission, which is really to honor God by serving others with the highest level of competency, care, and compassion with uncompromising integrity. So for a free strategy session, you can click here in the box here. We send us some feedback as well. On our webinars, if you're looking for future ones or past ones that are recorded, feel free to take a look at iharateamhawaii.kw.com in our webinar section. You'll find that. If you're looking for homes, virtual walkthroughs are what we have also on our site. And you'll see properties and be easy to find things that you like through our model. And I think we're wrapping up. Oh, we did good on our time, Tiff.
Yeah, we did really good.
Yeah.
Normally we go on and on and on and on, but that was
good. Carrie, do we have any questions or anybody in the Facebook group that we need to help?
We are looking good on Facebook, and know out there these replay, and no matter where you are and when you are watching this, we're here to help. So definitely reach out through Facebook, and I think Dan and Tiffany mentioned our website. Recordings are there, our upcoming webinar schedule. So we love to chat with you. Facebook, follow us on Instagram, watch what Tiffany and Dan are up to and doing, and the entire team. Looking forward to connecting with you guys.
Sounds good, everybody. Have a great day. God bless you, and give us a call so we can help. Take care. Aloha.